Now on 7 News at 4, questioned at the State House. The director for the South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice in the hot seat today. Also money for fire departments. More on the thousands of federal dollars going to those departments across the state and how that money will be used. Plus, high school seniors are graduating all over the area. We're hearing about what they had to overcome after this very difficult and unusual year. We have a lot to get to, you can tell that. But first, we want to check in with 7 Weather's chief meteorologist, Christy Henderson. She is joining us to give us a look at this forecast. Christy, it really was a beautiful day outside today.
It was. And speaking of graduation, want to give my neighbor Delissa a shout out. Aww. Graduating from Burns. She is so proud. Her family's proud. They had a huge sign in their yard. So congratulations to her.
So many people are graduating. It's so exciting.
A lot of happy with, and of course we need nice weather for that.
Yes.
And the weather is going to stay nice. Very quiet weather in the forecast for the next several days. And certainly that's how it's been for today. You can see some cloud cover developing, but that's going to fade away as the sun goes down tonight. Temperatures have been warm, but really pretty close to where they should be for this time of the year. Low 80s now around the upstate, and we've got mid 70s in much of western North Carolina. By this evening, it'll be 60s to low 70s, a slow cool down into the 50s by tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow afternoon will be just a little bit warmer. We'll talk more about the forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Amy?
Thanks. South Carolina lawmakers are continuing to look into the State Department of Juvenile Justice. The agency's director was questioned by state lawmakers on Thursday on the current state of this department. Our Jason Raven was at that meeting and tells us what DJJ officials have to say.
Officials say the primary problem right now is the lack of frontline staff. DJJ officials say they are currently facing a shortage in corrections officers. They say they are taking steps to address that with sign-on bonuses and recruitment. Now, DJJ Executive Director Freddie Pugh spent more than 3 hours answering questions from lawmakers. He talked about the report and what improvements the agency is making. The LEC report alleges due to staffing shortages, there is increased violence at DJJ facilities. Now, Thursday, Senator Dick Arputian asked Director Pugh why certain incidents weren't reported to state law enforcement and other agencies. Senator Arputian believes DJJ may have broken the law by failing to report. He asked Director Pugh if he would resign, and he said no. Senator Arputian says he would like to arrange a meeting with the governor to talk about how the agency is being run.
I think the state of the agency is disastrous. I mean, I'm very upset about what's going on out there. I feel like children and staff members are not safe.
Lawmakers on this panel say they'll be meeting again in the near future. In Columbia, Jason Raven, 7 News.
Brian Sims from the governor's office released this response to the meeting today. It noted the DJJ must make improvement and says, quote, Governor McMaster will continue to work with the General Assembly to improve the agency and, more importantly, the statement says, to keep juveniles from ending up at DJJ in the first place. The search for a man who authorities say fired shots at officers during a chase in York County stretches now into its 3rd day. Since the search started on Monday, investigators linked 27-year-old Tyler Terry to a killing in York County and 2 other Chester County shootings this month. Nearly 100 officers have joined with the police dogs, the helicopters, and all the drones, trying to keep a look on areas as far away as 12 miles from where that chase ended. DSS, meantime, is working to give financial help to children in foster care and kids who have aged out of that system. South Carolina got close to $4 million from the federal government. The Department of Social Services is working to distribute that money, and we're told 4,000 people are now eligible for this. The money is meant to pay for rent, utilities, and education.
So that's a great opportunity for anyone that qualifies for this federal aid to maybe go back to school, continue their schooling, or possibly, take on a new trade or training or education.
A link that you can use to sign up and get that money, you can search the words Foster Children Money on WSBA.com. Fire departments around the state of South Carolina have been waiting for grant money after a funding bill was signed into law, and now the time's come. 7 News reporter Sophia Radebach spoke to a volunteer fire station in Lawrence County about how they're planning to use all that money.
$30,000 now in the pocket of the Joanna Volunteer Fire Department. It's funding from the Be Safe bill passed last year by Governor McMaster, and they say this money is coming at the perfect time for them. Nearly $5.2 million was set aside last year by the state to assist volunteer fire departments in getting new and improved equipment. Now, after going through the application process, some are finally seeing that money come in. In Lawrence County, 7 fire departments were given $30,000 to spend to make their job easier and more efficient. The Joanna Volunteer Fire Department fire chief says for smaller fire departments, money like this is not taken for granted.
It makes you feel good to know that there's money available to help the less fortunate fire departments. A lot of the volunteer fire departments are the less fortunate. You know, your paid ones get more money from taxes and all.
For any fire departments that didn't receive the grant, the application restarts next year, but those that did get money this year are going to have to wait 3 more years to apply for more funding. In Lawrence County, Sophia Radabaugh, 7 News.
In total, 181 fire departments in South Carolina received the grant money this year. The number of Americans seeking unemployment aid fell last week to 444,000, a new pandemic low. The new numbers indicate the job market is strengthening as consumers spend freely again, viral infections drop, and business restrictions ease. The data release coincides with moves by nearly all the nation's Republican governors to cut off a $300 a week federal unemployment benefit. High school graduations, as Christy mentioned, are happening around the upstate, and this year's group of seniors have had to overcome some pretty significant obstacles. 7 News reporter Scotty Kay spoke with a senior from Burns High School about graduating during the pandemic.
Thursday was the last day for seniors like Darius Davis to walk the halls at Burns High School. Luckily, this year's graduation will be a little less strict than last year's. Folks will still be socially distanced, graduates and audience. The school district is asking that everyone wear a mask at least until you get to your seat. Because of the governor's order, some students may not wear a mask, which will be much different from last year's graduations. I spoke with Darius Davis, who's been through a lot with or without COVID. He lost his mother to breast cancer and told me her last words to him were to never give up. When he walks across the stage to receive his diploma, he says his mom and what she told him will be on his mind.
I'm doing it for myself and my mom and like all of my family. And I'm also showing people like no matter like what happens, you can always just continue and never give up.
Graduation here at Burns High School will be at 7:30 tonight. In Spartanburg County, Scotty Kay, 7 News.
Darius told 7 News he's thinking about last year's seniors who had an even tougher senior year in the midst of COVID. Several organizations around the upstate are partnering up to bring more shade to the Swamp Rabbit Trail. Trees Upstate, Bike Walk Greenville, and the Greater Greenville Parks Foundation launched the Shade the Rabbit initiative. Their goal is to plant an additional 125 canopy trees along the Greenville County portion of the trail. The additional trees would improve the air quality and provide more shade.
Everybody loves the Prisma Health Swamp Rabbit Trail. There's over 500,000 users each year. So when you think about planting more trees out there to provide shade, to keep things cooler, give us some relief from the sun, it seems like it's something that everybody would be, wanting to be a part of.
So organizers have already been at it, raising money, $70,000 so far, and they hope to raise $10,000 more by mid-June. The fair at Heritage Park begins in Simpsonville. Going to be a lot of fun. This is some video from the previous years. The fair will have performances by the Victoria Circus, a sea lion splash, magicians, and more. There's also a petting zoo featuring animals from the barnyard to the exotic. Admission is $7, but it's free for kids who are 10 and under. The fair runs through Sunday, May the 30th. Golf's second major of the year is underway now in the Low Country. The PGA Championship is being played on the Ocean Course on Kiowa Island. The tournament returned to the Charleston area for the first time in nearly 10 years. Pandemic guidelines remain in place, which is limiting the number of fans. You'll see the final 2 rounds on television this weekend if you're watching WSPA TV. Well, for many soon-to-be college athletes, academics and athletics go hand in hand. 7 Sports reporter Dan Vasco tells us how one Wren softball player perfected the balance.
Probably about 7th grade year, I was watching all these college games on TV and I was like, that's definitely what I want to do.
Wren's Mackenzie Livingston has turned a middle school dream into a reality as the Hurricane star ascends to the college ranks at North Greenville. The Crusaders expressed interest this past fall and even invited her to one of their camps.
Over the next couple of weeks, I kept talking with Coach Hall and I went to one of their limestone games, and that's when they offered me to come play at North Greenville.
I think North Greenville's going to get a gym. She's a born leader, and she takes her academics and her athletics very seriously.
Livingston was a 5-year starter for the Hurricanes, playing multiple positions on the diamond. In 22 games this season, she recorded a team-high 5 home runs, 17 RBI, and had a near 500 on-base percentage, a performance that she credits to her longtime head coach.
We've been out here for so late some days because she wants us to be better, and she wants us to be one of the best teams out here, and she's definitely made me a better player and a better person.
Livingston also excels in the classroom. She posts a 4.7 GPA, and head coach Lynn Hicks says that productivity in academics does translate to the field.
Probably one of the biggest things is her intelligence. She understands the game. She understands when we need to lay a bunt down. She understands just the little things.
Lots of long hours up at night after practices and games, up until midnight or 1 o'clock, studying, doing homework, and lots of dedication in the classroom to be able to focus to get my good grades that I have.
And those grades, paired with her skills on the field, have gone a long way towards her ultimate goal, being a 4-year starter at North Greenville and eventually becoming an orthopedic surgeon. In Piedmont, Dan Vasco, 7 Sports.
Wow, impressive young lady there. Coming up, we're getting a closer look at one of the newest electric vehicles in the market, coming from pickup truck maker Ford. We'll have more coming up.